Hello and welcome to the Knock On KCLR and Scoreline.ie's weekly rugby podcast involving Carlow, Kilkenny and Tullow Rugby Clubs. Tom Crotty, James Blanchfield and Paddy Browne, I haven't seen you in about 4 months. These are all a bit older, bolder, and plenty is happening during the summer. We all had our holidays and everything as well, but it's good to be back. We're back for season 4, believe it or not, of the Knock On Rugby podcast. How are you all?
Yeah, it's great to be back. Great to be back. All building up nicely now.
Yeah, indeed. Good to see you all again. And I'm kind of catching up on the grey hairs with the two lads there. So,
But the boot polish is plentiful down in Kilkenny anyway. So
there's loads of it going around, Paddy.
Yeah.
I got my hair cut during the week, and I was looking on the side there, and there's a couple of starting to appear here now, so I'm starting to get worried.
That's all they're running, Stephen.
It's the stress as well, James. I tell you, it's starting to manifest itself through my hair. Lads, good to see you, and we're great. We're delighted to be back for another season of the Knock On. Like, we've been provided with some fantastic rugby talking points and seasons the last couple of years between Towns Cup wins, local teams getting to the finals, the league wins there as well. For the teams, we were fairly lucky in these parts that we've had, big stuff to talk about, promotions to AIL for the women, and so on and so forth. So long may it continue. Tom, I'm going to start with you because you're on the top of my list here, and if you're ready for me, you're in action this weekend. Anyway, sorry, before we go into the Leinster League, let's look back. Southeast League.
Thanks, Steve.
No, we'll leave it there.
Going to be thrown straight into this. Look, we've had a good start to the season. We were training's going well, good numbers of training, sharp backs, as I think most clubs are at the moment due to football and hurling and so on. So plenty of forwards, no backs, but we're getting there. Look, Southeast was kind of a bit short and sweet this year. We had 2 games, one against New Ross, our Wexford first, and then we played Kilkenny in Carlow. It was a usual ding-dong battle, and we got through, and then we got through to the final against New Ross, and which we won 35-12 in the end. But just while I'm on, I'll just say, look, New Ross are a team that are definitely upcoming. They
agreed.
They've changed their structures and coaching down there, and it seems they like that scoreline doesn't justify the match. It was a cracking match, and I have to say full respect to New Ross. I want to wish them the best of luck with their season. I hope they get promoted, because with the work that they're doing down there, they absolutely deserve it 100%. And thank them for their hospitality on the day. Yeah, so we're in couples of cups to start the season, but the main thing with the Southeast, it was great to give guys a game. We played in Newcastle West from Limerick as well. They come up, and we had a pre-season friendly against those, which we won. Again, like, it was just a game for kind of getting used to getting the lads out, and we had a lot of kind of new players and young players just to give them a run out, and lads will be in training, just make sure that everybody was looked after, and so we're happy up to this point of on how we're doing. We did one. Just want to wish him the best of luck. And the young guy, Ned Williams, he played minis with us, played in Clongowes, and then he actually played up as far as the Southeast final and played really, really well, full back. But he's gone to college in Galway, and it's transferring to Corinthians for the period of time that he's over there. So I just want to wish him the best.
He was very good against us.
As I said, like, we have a few young players kind of coming up from the 18s, and they got James Browne, and those got a few games. So just look, it's, as I say, it's the start of the season. The big one now is the fixture against Seapoint, who by all means seem to be the favourites. this season between themselves and Bective on paper. Nobody knows till you actually go out and play, but I think if you were to look at the last year's performance, Seapoint were second and second by a good bit. So with Monkstown gone out of it, gone up to senior, we feel probably that Seapoint are the favourites. And to really start our season off well, we have the two big Dublin teams, first Seapoint and then Seapoint away and then back to the home. So preparations for Saturday now, we're playing Saturday rugby, which is brilliant. We're thrilled with that. And things are going fairly well. A couple of injuries, a couple of early injuries was probably the best time of the year to get them out and hopefully get those out of the way. To return, Johnny Murphy's is injured, and Leon's son Ben has just recovered from a hand operation during the summer, so he's won't be available for another week or so. But look, these things happen during pre-season. You're going to get knocks and niggles, but we have a strong enough team going up. Probably a little bit short in the backs again. A couple of lads still not available. So between the first and seconds, would be positive. As I say, everyone that has played this season so far has really put their neck on the line for us, and anyone that is starting on Saturday deserves their place. There was a couple of lads that were playing seconds last year have stepped up to the mark and have had good games against New Ross in the final, had good game against Kilkenny, and they're I think that they're the kind of standout players that are coming through. And so look, we know that we're going to have to start well on Saturday. We didn't start well against New Ross, and we paid the price. We gave away an early try. We can't afford to do that against Seapoint. It's a totally different kettle of fish. I think it's going to be really how our pack perform. If our pack perform well, we'll be competitive and hopefully try and get I suppose in the league the main feature is to try and get an away point, whether it's a losing bonus point or a win, or if you were really to get the icing on the cake and get a bonus point win. But that would be kind of on the real big, I suppose, a big glimmer of hope to get that. But if we can come out with any form of points at all, it'll be really, really good start to our season. So look, very hard to talk about what's coming through and who's there and because as I say, we've used so many players. I think we've used 35 players or maybe 35 players in the southeast. So I can't really give away a whole lot as to what's happening for this match. I know from next week on we'll be able to go back and talk about each game. Our seconds haven't had a game. We couldn't get very hard to get fixtures, and Southeast didn't organise a seconds league this year. So seconds are probably going out. As a team, we're going out a bit raw. But again, I was looking at the potential team. It's quite strong. Very strong pack. So we'll hope to compete in that. So that's really it with the seniors. You can't really say a whole lot. As I say, we've had a good start results-wise in the games that we've played. We've had very good numbers of training. Reasonably good pre-season. A couple of injuries that we don't want, but that's the start of the season. So look, that's the senior men. That's hopefully we'll keep our fingers crossed that they can perform well, and they'll have to. There's no choice. They have to go up. You have to go to these places. Probably a bit unfortunate that we got Seapoint away in the first game, but look, that's the throw of a dice, and that's what you have to put up with. So, and the other thing, the club is going high of activity at the moment. We've the women's team back for the first time in solo on its own for the first time. I think it must be nearly 15 years since we had a solo women's team. So we're actually shocked with the numbers that we got. We've decent numbers coming through. They're in the lower division. They're in Division 6, which everyone has to start somewhere. They play the tie they've had one game against the Thai, and they only lost by 1 try. So look, we're delighted to have them back. They've really put a bit of a buzz back into the club with new suggestions on socials and all sorts of things. And I think their main focus themselves is the social aspect of it. So I can tell you that one thing, I'd be afraid to go out with them. They like the party. They keep an eye on their WhatsApp groups, and by God, do they like the party. So look,
You're gone past it, Tom. You're gone past it.
Well, I tell you, poor old Gavin went out, and he wasn't the best. Gavin Whitney is the head coach of the ladies this year. Gavin's our CCRO and has kindly volunteered to take over the women for the year. So I think Gavin had one night with them, and I think it took a few days to recover. So they're look, it's brilliant. We need it, because we have, as I say, like the Rhinos with Tullow trying to get the girls going, and that's been a success for both clubs. Have to give them a compliment. I think the 14s or the 14s had a slight loss in Gorey. The 18s had a good win in Gorey in the southeast. They beat Gorey 17-5 against. So we've a strong Rhinos 18s team, and I want to wish them the best of luck because I'm involved with them with Ciara Kinch and those, and James Byrne. We look at we're looking forward to the season with the girls as well. I'm looking forward to them getting back out and doing the coaching with them. So other than that, our youth are doing well. The 18s they played well. And they played a good win over Tullow, strong Tullow side there too, and so they're kind of getting their campaign off with the Southeast League as well. I think they're playing Wicklow this weekend, and I think most of the youths are trying to get out. Some teams are struggling to field because they have, again, with football, just the early part of the season. Football is a killer especially with the youths, trying to get players through. But look, the numbers are good. The minis are back. Minis are back on Saturday mornings, and we're always looking for new women's, men's, every players available. We're open to it all, and that's all from Carlow this week.
Good stuff, Tom. Good to hear it. Off to a good start, and best of luck this weekend. Who wants to go next, James or Paddy?
Go ahead, James.
No bother. Well, as Tom kind of said, the Southeast League was a little bit kind of an underwhelming for us this year. We had our first 15 had 2 games away to New Ross and away to Carlow, lost both of them. New Ross was the first day out. It was a poor performance by the lads, a better performance in Carlow the following Wednesday night, but I think the difference in the end of it was the subs that Carlow had to bring on. They were bringing on some Dave McDermott, bringing in Wes off the bench. They're kind of 2 big subs to bring in. So I think Carlow brought manic aggression as well, which Carlow do. That I think for some of the younger guys that we were bringing up to our first 15 was a little bit of an eye opener for them, which we hope will bode well for them. But as a whole, it's been like Carlow. So summertime has been an absolute hive of activity. There's a lot been happening in the club. Every team is back training, but I suppose in terms of personnel, there's been a change in head coach, as we all know, with Corey Carty has come in to take the reins over from Dave O'Connor. And Dave O'Connor has moved into the director of rugby role, which I think that transition was with the change of head coach. Jerry MacDonald felt the time was right to step down as director of rugby, and the time was probably right for Dave O'Connor to step up to director of rugby, where he can have probably a greater impact in terms of the structures in rugby around the club. So you can already kind of see some of the things that Dave is doing, and I'm working very closely with him on the youth structures as well. So we hope that over the next couple of years we'll see the fruits of our labour. Joe Manuel has moved into as assistant coach with the women's team as well, so Joe can only assist to that, and he's also coaching the under 14 girls, and I think he's involved with one of the minis teams as well. So playing. And still manages to get a couple of games of 5-a-side in every week as well. So his wife must really like him at home, because I wouldn't say he's ever there. But another kind of bit of news over the summer was Killian McElwee, as an under 16, was included on the Leinster youth squad. so it was kind of as a number 8, and was a kind of got game time in the 3 interpros and all of the warm-up games. So that's kind of a big one for us. Killian is a young guy from Thomastown, came through the system with the club, and to see him being picked as a Leinster youth when he was still 16 was a massive achievement, and we're looking forward to see what he has in the future. Steve Ashmore has kind of stepped back from coaching, but he's taken on a new role as well as head of media for the club. So Steve and I and Marion Jordan and Tom Murray are all working closely now on social media and this kind of stuff. And I think you can already see the improvements that Steve and his team have brought around the social media and the activity that we're seeing across all of the platforms. And we're thankful to have Steve in there. In terms of overall rugby, there's kind of over the last number of years in the club, we've put a big focus on our ground upgrades and kind of bringing Foogstown up to standard and improving it. So now the focus is strictly on rugby, and I think the timing is right for that as well. Again, with Corey coming in and with our first 15 being in a phase of transition, which it is. It's a very young first 15 with a couple of experienced players in there, but it's definitely in transition on that. There's probably been a number of players have moved on, but a number of players have come in as well. And notable inclusions into the first squad is Axel Montgomery, who is a Canadian guy who just contacted the club, wanted to come and play in Ireland for a year, much like yourselves, Tom, with Shannon's nephew, and just wanted to come and play in Ireland for the year. And lo and behold, he's here, so he's probably going to be starting out half for us in the season. A tight head has joined us from Cashel, Josh Evans, along with another out half come full back from Cashel, Dan O'Neill. Dan is actually from Kilkenny. He's out of Kilkenny College, but has played most of his rugby since finishing school down in Cashel. So it's great to get him back in a Kilkenny jersey. Cause for celebrations, kind of the graduation from Caleb Hogan Ayre from under 18s up to adult rugby. Caleb is playing on the wing for us, and Jesus, he's a little flyer and afraid of nothing. So we wish him the best as well. Probably see more of him. For our seconds, Julian Hughes has returned back from rugby, having not played since 2013, but he's back playing out half for the seconds and running the show. But remains to be seen if somebody upsets him, how he reacts to that in league rugby. I'm giving him a little nudge here now. Julian's one of my best pals, so I'm allowed to have a cut off him. What else is happening? As I said, the women's have added Joe Manuel to the coaching team. Minis are back training. Every team is back training. So I think out in the club on Tuesday night, there was over 150 people training at various times, which is brilliant. But look, we'll move to the important and meaty stuff, which is the return of the Leinster League for us. This Sunday we're away to Mullingar. Team will be announced tonight, and it's going to be a tricky journey for us. Like Carlow, we're short on backs. We have forwards coming out of our ears in all angles. We could pick any permutation and combination of a pack for both teams, but I think backs will be the issue for us. Rumor has it we might see Wes Carter filling in the back line somewhere for this week. But as teams start getting knocked out of hurling championships in Kilkenny, we might see more players coming back. The seconds would probably be in the same bracket as well, because any back that's on the seconds coming up to firsts will be filling those gaps as well. But we're looking forward to it. I'm just looking down here to see what results came in from the weekend, which I have here somewhere. I'm jumping from Billy to Jack here, admittedly, but where are they? I had them a second ago. Also, last weekend's results were the under 14 boys. Their game was postponed against Enniscorthy. The under 16 girls got a walkover from Enniscorthy. The under 18 boys lost by a try against Enniscorthy, 38-37 or 31-37. The under 18 girls had a loss to New Ross, but on our under 18 girls, they're a very young side. And they're going to start building. It'll take time for them. The step up from under 16s to under 18s is massive, but it's going to take time for them to adapt to it. I was speaking to their coaches, Peter Hart and Ed Mulrooney, last night, and they're very positive about what they can achieve with that team over time. The under 14 girls narrowly lost out to Warclow. The women's 15 beat Roscrea in a friendly. The under 16 boys lost to Gorey. The under 13 boys lost to Gorey. The under 15 boys beat Enniscorthy. So kind of a mixed bag of results for our underage teams this weekend. Now I can jump back to the first 15 for this week. So it's going to be interesting to see what team takes to the pitch on Saturday or Sunday. I have to get used to Sunday rugby again. It's going to be interesting to see what team takes the field. There's no doubt that it's going to be a mixed bag of experienced players. Joe Manny will probably be there, Ben Devlin, Gary Dunn. So I guess the stalwarts will all be there. Who fills in the back line, it remains to be seen. I suppose 9 and 10 will probably definitely be Stephen Atkinson and Axel Montgomery. Dan O'Neill will be full back. Joe Manuel and probably Wes Carter be in the centres. Caleb Hogan-Eyre maybe on one wing, and it remains to be seen who will be on the other wing. But it's probably a tricky journey for us to make our first game of the season away to Mullingar on their AstroTurf pitch, which they're used to playing on. We're not. So we'll just have to see what comes of it. But unlike Carlow know the quantity that they're travelling to deal with. Mullingar, a team that we haven't come up against in league rugby for a long time, and it'll be interesting to see how the game pans out. But look at Corey and Stephen Talbot will have the team ready. There's no doubt about that. They're fit enough. I don't buy into the whole thing that we have experienced players, inexperienced players, or young players. If you're old enough, you're good enough. And I think the lads will come away with a win. But look, that's my opinion based on the bit I've seen of them this year. But it's going to be an interesting season ahead.
Absolutely. Good stuff, James. Paddy. What's the story out in Tullow?
We'll give you the Tullow story now. Absolutely, yes. So I think I'll start with the ladies because I think they deserve pride of place. They're after placing Tullow as a senior club now. They won the league last year and got into a round robin, you might recall, and they had good wins over Queens and Ennis to win the round robin and to push Tullow into as a senior club. So while the men are not senior, the club is, and it has implications for funding and for travelling and for tickets and all sorts of things. So we're delighted to be in this position, and fair play to the women. It also means that we will be more or less expected to put out two senior women's teams for the season, and we are hoping to do that in our first game, which is on the home against Wicklow on the 28th, which is Saturday week. And Wicklow would be in a kind of a similar position to us, one of the few junior clubs from Leinster that are in the senior. So it'll be a very good test for us to start off with. Wicklow started very badly last year, but I think they improved as the season went on. The team manager again is Paddy Browne, and the captain is Grace Kelly, and Paul Canavan, who will be playing with the seconds, I'd say, but also is putting a huge effort into coaching the senior ladies. The seconds ladies team will be out against a tie on the Sunday on the 29th. So fair play to the women, and hopefully we'll get good support to follow them all around the country in the season ahead, because they will have games in the 4 provinces. But great to start off with a reasonably local one against the tie, or against Wicklow at home on the 28th. The men. Things are starting off very sluggishly. We didn't play in the southeast because we were playing in a playoff cup competition in Dublin against Railway Union, and we sent up a very weak team and got deservedly well beaten in that. So that was 3 weeks ago, and we haven't had any games since that. So we're going into our first league match this Sunday, home against Ashburn, and we will be sort of undercooked a little bit. I'd be afraid we will, because we only had that game against Railway Union, and we had a very weak team out. So we don't know. It's a very much an unknown package so for this Saturday. We're also hoping to put out a seconds team, which would be the first time in a long number of years that Tullow had a seconds team out at this time of the year. So that's as all the 3 clubs here know, it's hugely important to have the second snapping at the heels of the first. So I think while the numbers in training haven't been good. I'm being told that they are fairly confident of getting 2 teams out. Like the 2 lads said there earlier, GA is the problem, particularly in the backs, as they said, and the numbers in training are disappointing. Now, having said that, we are playing against Ashbourne, who have something to prove, I suppose. I have no idea how they're preparing, but the fact that we beat him in the final of the Towns Cup last year in Carlow was certainly, they will be out for a little bit of revenge. Some of my contacts are quietly confident that the lads, even though they're badly not as well prepared as they might be, are up for it. And so only time will tell. But as I say, it's great to get a first and a seconds team out this early in the season. On the playing front, we've lost 2 fine young players. Mark McDermott has gone to play under 20s with Turnure, and Fionn Hickey has gone to play under 20s with Clontarf. But look, that happens most years, and you'd hope to get those guys back after a year or 2 when they're finished college or whatever. But they will be a loss. Fionn Hickey played in the Towns Cup final last year, and Mark was a sub, so there would be 2 very good up-and-coming young players. We have 1 or 2 new players as well. We've Ryan Jordan, a New Zealander in. Our New Zealander from last year is gone, but we have and I haven't seen him playing yet, but he plays mostly centre, but can play out half, and I believe he's a flyer. So time will tell. We also have a Fenton guy, I'm not sure of his first name, up from the Glen. That could be a relation of Mark Fenton's that played with you, Tom, I'm not sure. He's up from that side of the
He's I think he's
the son of Mark. Okay, yeah. So I think he had been away in New Zealand and he's back, and so he was out training the other night. Jamie Cooper is back as well, which is good to hear. Morris, of course, yeah, it's great to have Jamie back. Yeah, with lots of potential there. Morris Logue, of course, is continuing to train along, ably assisted by Sprocket and Sean O'Brien. Sean is probably not going to play this year. He's the hip is very bad at the moment, and it looks like he's going to have a hip operation. So he really wanted to play, but it looks like he won't be tugging out for the foreseeable future. So that's probably a little bit of a disappointment. Scott Callback again is captain of the first. Fair play to him. We've new coaches on the second team, Derek Hughes and Conor Doyle, and they'll bring a bit of enthusiasm into that situation, I suppose. And Morris will be involved with them in selecting the teams. So yeah, that's the situation with the men and the women, the senior men and women. On the underage, since we did a full round of matches last week with a couple of walkovers, but it was great to see the amount of activity. Tom has mentioned the 2 Rhinos games, a win and a loss. They are under 13 boys, and it's always interesting to watch the under 13s because it's their first time playing structured rugby coming out of the minis, and they have had 2 good wins, and beating Wicklow the week before last and beating Arklow 40-10 last weekend. So that's a good start for them. Our under 14 boys beat Wicklow 45-26, so that's a huge win for them. Our 15s and 16s, as Tom said, Carlow were having a lot of issues with Gaelic, and those 2 games were conceded. So the under 18 boys then lost again to Wicklow, having lost to Carlow the previous week. But there were 2 fairly tight matches, so it was good to see such a full schedule of matches, so early in the season. And the minis are packing it out. Our car parking is the biggest problem. We've 250 minis out already this time of the season, so it's fantastic. And fair play to our minis coordinator John Manifold for doing a marvellous job, along with all his coaches and the parents and the helpers, etc., etc. So that's kind of a run of what's happening on the field. And like the guys, Carlow and Kilkenny, we had a nice bit of activity off the field as well. We had a very successful golf classic last Friday week in Mount Wolseley with 54 balls out, which is quite a good number. And Don Morrissey, Marcus McCormack and Conor Carroll put a huge amount of effort into organising that, and it was a great day and night had by all. So yeah, that's it, Stephen. We're really looking forward to cranking up now over the coming weeks, and can't wait for our derby matches with Carlow, our great friends Carlow and the Thai, of course. And those are the type of matches that make the club and make the season. So while it's nice to be playing Ashbourne and Seapoint and those clubs effective, it's really nice to be playing against Carlow and the Thai.
Yeah, lucky that they're so close enough as well that you don't have to go too far, because you'll have enough trips up and down the motorway for other matches as well. So it balances itself out in a way, I suppose.
We'll do our best to try and make it a triangular, or that all 4 are close by next year.
Yeah.
But that would be the ideal, James. Absolutely. I was hoping you would be up there, but it's it'd be great.
Tough division, lads. It is a tough division to get. It's probably, as Tom will test, both of us, all of us can say it's a tough division to get up to, and it's a tough division to stay in.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I knew there was something I have to say. Congratulations to Stephen Smith, who's made the Emerging Irish.
Yes.
Stephen was Minnie and Carlow, then went to Kilkenny College, then came back and I think he had one game with us before he went to Wesley and moved on. But he's after making the Emerging Irish as one of the hookers. He's with the 20s during last year, and he's after getting promoted up. Can't forget your two women. Or Dana played extremely well for the.
That's right. Yeah, she did well. That's great. And
really well.
Yeah, the Elms girl that played on the wing, who was in the Olympics in the sevens, has Tullow connections as well. She's actually a niece of my brother. So we were Vicky Elms Kinlan. So I don't know what's the story with Katie Corrigan is at the moment, whether she's injured or not. But look at it; it's great to have them involved. Fantastic, and as you say, Dana did very, very well.
Yeah, no, we watched it. Congratulations to the women on that, and well done to the. Excuse me, no, sorry, getting caught up. Put Leinster hat on now, and congratulate the under-18 boys and the under-18 girls who won the Interpros. The Leinster schools lost to Ulster, or the under-19s won their Leinster Interpros. They won for Leinster as well for the Interpros. So 3 out of 4 wasn't too bad for the season.
It's true.
Absolutely.
And hard to believe we're back into URC action on Friday night against Leinster against Edinburgh. Leinster have picked their team today, an interesting selection. A lot of the big guns back, and a few young Prendergast starting it out half, which is an interesting start to the season. But
Ross Byrne on the bench.
Yeah.
I think, look at my sentiment. My sentiment. Ross Byrne should be sent away. Put Frawley throughout half and work with Frawley and Pendergast.
Yeah, no, it
looks like that, doesn't it?
Same opinion, James. Can't see it. Don't understand it. Been there, done that. Wrote the book. Hasn't worked.
Yeah.
Need to move. Time to move on, lads. And doesn't make any odds. Makes no odds. Be interesting to see what Freddie Burns turns out for Munster as well.
The more I think about it, the more sense I think it makes.
Yeah,
I
think, look, they need somebody down there. They need an old head. And I see Joey Carby got injured in his first game. I was watching the game and I thought, Jesus, really cool. Went out to make myself a cup of coffee, came back in and was wondering why 10 was changed to half. Couldn't figure it out and he was gone. He's injured again. Seeing he's broke.
Poor fella. He must be made of Weetabix.
I have no idea. No, he may start eating Weetabix or something because I couldn't believe it. I literally went out to make the coffee, came back in. I was looking for because he was actually starting to play well, and I was delighted for him and fresh new start. I said put it behind, put Ireland and Munster behind, and he's a good lad. And Jesus came out and there he was gone, injured already.
Yeah. That's very hard.
Tough on him, yeah.
And poor old Snyman injured as well. Horrible, isn't it?
It's just he's injured for Leinster. Won't get him till the
end of
September, October.
I think Connacht will be a surprise package this year because they have Cardo, the Argentinian back, Cardobo, is that his name?
Yeah.
They'll have Mac Hansen back, both of them are going to be like two new signings. They have this out half, Ione, isn't that his name?
Yeah.
I think the Connacht backline is going to be electric this year. I think they're going to be real. Now, and I was looking at a stat today about the URC. Connacht were the team that went through the most phases in the URC last year. Now, I know their final position, but, if they can build on that with a good backline, I really think Connacht could be a team to keep an eye on this year.
Well, I hope Richie Murphy does something with Ulster as well, because it'd be great to have, all joking aside, we need to have 4 provinces.
We do, absolutely, yeah.
Shooting, and so you can't just have the Leinster way the whole time. So, we have to have games that are exciting and good interpros, and You know, it'd be nice to see Ulster getting back as well, and Ulster. If Ulster and Connacht become really competitive again, it just makes Ireland stronger as a whole.
Yeah.
Then they'll have to start looking at other players as well as for Irish selection. And I think there's a good few gone out with the emerging Irish as well. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Very good.
Interesting. And that wraps up our episode 1, season 4 of the Knock On. I'll catch up next week, lads, with Mullingar, Ashbourne, and further afield, and of course we'll preview the next round of games after that as well. Great to be back. So it is having chat, which it seemed like forever, but that's the summer for you. And we'll talk to you all next week. Take care, folks.
Very good.
Take care.
Take care, Stephen. Take care.